Okay, so a lot of people dry a lot of different things, fruits and vegetables of different sorts. I think peppers are awesome dried. And so what you see here, I've got a Nesco food dehydrator. This is the one I bought, and boy, this is really nice. I found it was, like, I don't know, 4.5-star rated or whatever off of Amazon. I can't remember, what was it, maybe 60 bucks. It wasn't that expensive. This does a great job of drying food. We've done a good many rounds of peppers and also some tomatoes just recently that make like a sun-dried tomato. But so what I'm working with now, I've got tons of bell peppers coming out of the garden, and so I've got some bell peppers and some little banana peppers that I'm going to work on today, and I just cut them up like this. I used to put things this size in the food dehydrator, but it takes a lot longer for them to dry. It looks like this pepper might have a bad spot in it, so I'm going to cut this out. We'll chuck that and get rid of this right here too. I make sure the peppers are clean and that I'm not putting anything that's kind of subpar in there. But yeah, I don't do strips like this anymore. It just takes way longer for them to dry because they're very plasticky and they don't dry as easily as a lot of vegetables do. So I cut these peppers up about like this. And as you can see, that's what's already in the dehydrator. That's kind of what I'm going for, just smaller amounts of kind of like almost like cubed. And be careful not to cut yourself here. I realize I'm not the best in the world at I'm not very much like a chef here with my little cheap knife. But yeah, about like that right there. I'm going to put them in, make sure they're all spread out and they're not like overlapping over the top of each other. You just want the air to be able to get down in there really well. I'll go ahead and put another tray on. And you want to do at least 4 trays on this. I think that even the instruction book said if you only have even if you only have 1 or 2 trays of vegetables, always do at least 4 trays with this kind of dehydrator. I'll go ahead and cut at least one more of these up. Now these will do okay, even little strips like this. The main thing you want is so that if you want to dry quickly, just make sure they're not thick. And yeah, I leave the seeds in here. The seeds during the drying process will fall down through those cracks. I'm just going to do 1 or 2 little pull throughs here. Alright. So the seeds and everything go on there and they fall down through the little cracks and kind of filter into the bottom. And in the very bottom of this, I do have one of these trays that are usually used for, these are usually used for making fruit roll-ups and things like that. And I have that down the bottom to catch the seeds. So if you lift that up, you'll see that plastic thing's in the very bottom there. So I won't go any more with cutting or anything, but what do I do with this stuff, with this dried pepper? Well, this is what it ends up being. These are like Utz containers that you get, party mix and stuff in, and they do a great job for putting dried peppers in that. And these are actually probably 3 years old here that I have. So this one I think is mostly bell pepper mix, and this one has bell peppers and hot peppers mixed kind of together. So I do different mixes of pepper, so there's a whole lot of dried pepper there. And man, this stuff is just great. What I do, I take a Krupp coffee grinder. I don't have it with me here where you can see it. But here in this, I did at one point have this thing full up to here. And so over the years, I've eaten a whole container of this, and it's so good in soups, on pizzas, on top of vegetables. It's great with and mixed into mashed potatoes. That sounds crazy, but it's really good that way. I've used it, I've eaten, man, just a lot of this pepper. And what I do, grind it up real fine with a little cheap Krupp, K-R-U-P-P coffee grinder. And then we bought this, this is just something I bought at the store that had like, I don't know, oregano or something, and one of those cheap, you go to like a dollar store or something. So I got these things and emptied it out, and that's my pepper powder. And it is so awesome. Like I say, just anything, if you like peppers at all, you can make it mild or wild. Like I say, this one here is mostly, I think it's probably 90% bell pepper and some, or what this one actually might be. Anyway, this one might actually be the bell pepper, and this one I think might be mostly jalapeno. Probably about 70% jalapeno and some bell mixed in with it. But so that's my little tip for the day. These things will typically dry in about, I'm going to guess about 10 hours. If you follow the instructions. And what I do, I let them get very dry. As you see here, these things rattle around here. If there's moisture in it, it's not going to keep it really well inside of one of the containers like that. So I let them get very, very dry where they'll just crumble in your fingers. Maybe drier than most people would think it has to be, but I don't want any moisture at all in those. So sometimes it might take more than 10 hours, 10, 12, maybe even 14 hours, depending on just what your conditions are for drying it, how much humidity is in the air, and how much, of course, moisture is in the vegetables. So that's it. Peppers for pepper powder, and I call mine Tony's potent pepper powder. Tony's powerful pepper powder.